I wish I just go to multifamily in the beginning without going to struggle with the single family because from my experience as a finance person, when we said about risk concentration, risk mitigation, that's exactly it.
Mhm.
From the risk point of view, when you have single family, your tenant move out, you have 100% vacancy.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Real Deal podcast. In today's show, our guest is an experienced multifamily syndicator and the founder of Essential Element Capital. Welcome, Linda Lim. How are you doing, Linda?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, good.
Really good. All right, so let's get it started. So tell us your story. How did you get started involved in real estate?
Okay, you want a short story or you want a long story?
I said long story.
Let's go with the long one.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how I started. Uh, I actually been in investment. My background is finance,
Mhm.
right? I mean, I have two bachelor's degree way back in Indonesia. One is linguist literature, and the other one is business economy. And I came to United States to study master in grad school in finance. So all my life, what I know is finance. After I graduate, I was a
Mhm.
stockbroker first. I'm in Wall
Mhm.
Street. So that's how I
Nice.
started. And slowly I gather more licenses besides seven. So I
Yeah.
got the life insurance, I have real estate. It's all into like one package, right?
Yeah.
You have the retirement planning and all that. But I haven't never practiced my real estate license until probably I have my real estate license for 20 years already. So probably 2 years in, because it's conflict of interest, so we don't really practice all. You have to have the license, but you don't practice all the license, right? So I do like buying and selling in a circle, friends and family. That's how I started with real estate, become an agent. um, After that, long story short, I went to banking.
Mhm.
The last position that I'm in is I was commercial real estate underwriter with Citigroup. And
Mm.
at that time, I remember in 2008 when everything just like, we have financial crisis. I remember when early in the morning, New Year's, the first, when I came to work, the whole mortgage department in Citigroup got wiped out, pretty much closed down in just one day, right? It made me realize that I have two kids and I'm a single parent. So at that time, I realized that, W 2 is not going to get me anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, people sometimes thinking that W 2, is a stability, secure, and things like that. I realized no, it's
No.
just like really out of my control, you
Mhm.
know? So with that, in my personal life, I have like so many different, challenges also at that time. I came from an abused relationship and I have two kids, and our relationship, the divorce and things like that, was not smooth. So there's a lot of things going on between, the dynamic between our family is very, it's up and down. So I took that opportunity when the mortgage went down. Um, One of my I was born and raised in Indonesia, so one of my cousin, my family is actually a developer. I'm from developer background, a real estate developer background in the family. Uh, they built resort in Bali,
Mm. Oh,
so
nice.
I took that opportunity to go to Bali. Be in CFO position, live Citibank. So it's kind of like it's not planned, but also it's not something like, but also I know that that's the only way to do it is like live the W 2
Yeah.
for me and my kids to be able to survive. And I also thinking that I want to not to put the kids in the middle because we always constantly fighting. So I went back and forth. 3 weeks in Indonesia, 2 weeks in LA, 3 weeks in
Wow.
Indonesia,
Oh,
2 weeks
wow.
in LA. And as a CFO, I do capital raising too at that time for our project,
Mhm.
you know. So our investor mostly in Southeast Asia. So it's pretty much like I live in a suitcase. I can go to Hong Kong for one day or having breakfast in Singapore and then having dinner in Bangkok in one day.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. We work with hotel management too. So as a hotel resort owner, we
Mhm.
usually choose the hotel management,
Mm.
to work with us, right? From the design and everything like that. So we built the ground up with the help of the hotel management. We choose Langham or Holiday Inn or whatever that we choose. They do the design and everything like that. So I lived like that for a while, for a few years, till to the point that my son is actually, get abused by, the stepmom. So I have to come back and I have to drop everything. And then as a mom, I realized that it doesn't matter how many opportunity out there.
Yeah.
Your job, number one job, is being a mother. At that point, our my decision is not logical anymore. It's more into like what my heart telling me, right? So I give up everything and I stay in United States, back in the United States. And that changed everything because I don't have a job. Remember that I come back, I don't have a job. And I remember at that time that my son wanted to do like a sole custody. So all the, money that I earn from here and there or the saving get wiped out, go to, legal court and legal to I was just really
Wow.
in a very desperate place at that time. And city won me back, but it took them forever to get an approval of position because my position is already gone.
Mhm.
And at that point, I realized that, the only license that I have at that time was real estate and life insurance.
Mhm.
With the real estate, I went to pretty much like, I think I tell the story also in Phoebe. I went to all my clients in commercial banking before and then telling them that I'm back. I have my real estate license, you know, I can find you in a property or something like that. Because I remember when you have a close relationship with your client, you remember their situation, you remember their appetite, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you kind of like know what kind of building or things like that they looking for.
Mhm.
So I know from one side, I know from the tax return side, and I know how to find lender for them. So
Mhm.
for me, it's a plus on my side being a realtor at that time. But I also realized that commission as a realtor, that you started a realtor or you become a realtor, recent, is not gonna catch up with the need, financial need that my two kids, especially they almost go to college. I was thinking about that too, like school and things like that. I'm by myself, so I will not gonna be able to make it if
Mhm.
I continue, doing the real estate as
Yeah.
commission as a
Yeah.
realtor. So what I did is like I went to one of my client,
Mhm.
in a city before that we have a close relationship. I went to him. I know he's a real estate investor, hardcore.
Mhm.
He likes 124. He like warehouses. His name is Pablo. And I tell this story all the time because
I
this
remember
part
that.
changed my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you met with him
Yeah,
too,
I met
right?
him too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to him and I told him that I was just crying because I don't know what else to do at that time. I just know I need money. So I told him that I do not have any money, but I know how to make money. you
Mhm.
know Growing up in entrepreneurs family, we see opportunity and we go for it. When in Southeast Asia, you don't go to W2. You just looking for business all the time, and you train your guts and your eyes. Everything else is, you pretty much trained to see opportunity.
Yeah.
And I took a risk also, immigrated to United States by myself. I remember I slept in the airport for 2 days when the first time I came because I have no one. That's
Mhm.
how I came to United States. So when I went to Pablo, I thought that Pablo would say no because he took all the risk. The money doesn't come from me, 100% from him. I only, working to make money from that money, pretty much,
Mm.
right? Few seconds, he say, sure, let's do it. So from then on, things change. We invest in starting with like, single family. We do a lot of flipping, and we hold like, probably one or four, or the largest is probably 12 units. Sometimes we do the added value, sometimes we do the ground up, but everything that we do it together. That's
Mm.
how I start doing the real estate. It's basically from flipping, and then from flipping I have another partner who's the contractor. That's until now we still partner up. So I have my own construction company from that as well. So
Mm.
I've been doing like private syndication and all that. I have investor that invested in our flip or in some of property that we hold as a JV or syndication. But I always do it in California or Southern California, or basically San Bernardino County or LA County, Orange County. I never go out from that until COVID hit. COVID changed everyone, right?
Yeah.
Changed me. We need to pivot
Yeah.
because the way we do business is a little bit different now. And from do not want to go out of state at all. I'm very like, oh, this is my comfort zone. I know how to flip in this area. I know how to invest in this area, to the point that okay, now the price is going up, the building materials is going up, then what? Right? It forced me to look at out of state. That's when I start the out of state syndication. But that's my real estate journey is pretty much, you know uh it doesn't happen, it's just by force, but it's a situation put me in that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. It was such a powerful story to hear. And I love the fact that when I like when you were asked, hey, what's your real estate story? It's really your life story is how you ended
It's
up
my life
where you
story.
are right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's so many places I'm just like, oh God, I feel like I really want to pay you a lot of respect for what you have done. This is really inspiring to hear.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
the
Thank
question
you.
I have, so why do you
Yeah.
think Pablo choose to work with you at that time?
That's a great question.
Say this again, sorry.
So why do you think Pablo choose to work with you at that time?
Okay. So gut feeling. So it's basically I have so many clients. I have so
Mm.
many clients that are close to me too, because the fact that I be able to live United States for a while. I'm not in the United States business, right? Basically, I'm
Yeah.
going back and forth. I come back for my kids only, right? And then when I come back, I have to go to all my Rolodex. I have so many options, right?
Mhm.
But then I also know, it's based on my only my Rolodex. I don't have the Citibank data anymore. So the client and the friends that I go to, and I go to one by one every day, I try to set up at least 4 or 5 appointments every day, face to face, right? Uh, but I also know that by building a relationship with my client, I know which one that have the same philosophy,
Mm.
and that's when I know. I only went to one person, which is Pablo at that time, because I know we believe the same thing. We have the same work ethic. We
Mhm.
have the same risk taking,
Yeah.
and I know that we get along so well, you know,
Sure.
and yeah, that's based on, to me, looking for a partner is more important than looking for the deal. I can always make money, but finding the right person that I'm going to do it with is
Mhm.
really important, because that can be a deal breaker. You can have the best deal, but you have the wrong partner, you pretty much over.
100%. So
Yeah.
you previously you mentioned the idea of having a W-2 is actually some people think it's secure, but it's actually insecure in many perspectives.
Mhm.
And when you made that transition from W2 to being a real estate investor, and this is not, like you clarified, not the um, commission based real
Yeah.
estate work. Can you tell us what changed in your mindset that you're like, okay, now this is what I had to do, and what helped make that transition?
When I saw, the whole mortgage, you know, get wiped up in city. So that was actually a big aha moment because my friend, I have a lot of friend in mortgage industry in that Citibank group, right? And they didn't even know that they're gonna get fired. They went
Wow.
to work on New Year's after the New Year's, no nothing, you know. The
Mm,
same thing like happened also recently with Google, right? And some of them also they get fired without knowing. They don't know whether they're gonna get fired or not. It's just like
mm,
all of a sudden, on that same day, everything is just gone. So because I watched that and I know I have little kids, I know that my responsibility is still like, what happened if that happened to me? If that happened with some of my friends, it can happen to me too.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest,
mm.
awakening.
Mhm.
Yeah, my company had 3 rounds of layoff in the past 2 to 3 years, so I know exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
And that's enough
Like a
for
lot.
me. That one big
Mm,
Yeah.
like wave like that, that's enough to scare me because
yeah,
like some people probably has the spouse to lay back on. I don't.
mm,
I'm the
Yeah.
breadwinner. I'm taking care of the kids. I'm taking care of the house. I did everything. So you know I don't have anyone to rely on. I've
It
been
was all.
I've been
Yeah.
homeless too one time. Like so I don't want to get go back in that situation again.
Yeah.
And so that I know I have to make a change, and I know I want to be able to be in control at least,
Mm. So it
whether
was
how
all or
much money I'm
nothing.
gonna make, yeah, and all,
Yeah.
yeah,
All or nothing.
yeah.
If I'm getting
It's
it, I'm
not
getting
it's not
everything.
fancy. I don't even thinking
Yeah.
about I'm gonna be wealthy or things. No, for me, it's more about security, and I know the
Survival
mindset
and
about
survival
safety shift,
and survival.
yeah, and survival.
And yeah. So let's pivot to the multifamily. Share
Hmm.
us about your multifamily first multifamily deal
Yeah.
syndication. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Multifamily deal syndication. To me, I mean, I like everybody else. We start with single family home,
Yeah.
right? Because people think that is easy, it's affordable.
Yeah.
How I'm gonna have money to buy apartments? Like it's kind of like beyond everyone thinking because the dollar amount, the price tag, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people don't know about how syndication work, that you can have a little bit but you can purchase a big thing. For me, after crossing over from single family to multifamily, I wish I just go to multifamily in the beginning without going to struggle with the single family. Because from my experience as a finance person, when we said about risk concentration, risk mitigation, that's exactly it.
Mhm.
From the risk point of view, when you have single family, your tenant move out, you have 100% vacancy. So your
Yeah.
risk is actually very high because you have concentration, right? But in multifamily, one or two tenant out, you still have the rest of the tenant. So your cash flow is still going in. So your risk is actually mitigated. So you don't have that
Yeah.
100% risk concentration anymore. The same
mm,
thing, like from bank lender or things like that point of view. If we actually don't lend money to any company that has concentration client. For example, there's
Mhm.
one company saying that, oh, my client is Walmart or Costco. The next question that we ask is like, how many percent that Costco, have for your whole, income? It's like, oh, most of them are them, 60, 70%. Oh, for us? Is a no-no, because that one
Mm.
Costco or Walmart say, you know what, bye-bye, I'm not gonna buy anything from you, and or
Yeah.
I'm done with you. That whole 60%, 70% income gone.
Yeah.
And you think
Mm.
the same philosophy you apply to real estate. So people saying that, oh, a single family is going to be easier. No, the risk is higher. That's one. Two, from this operational point of view, costs, right? um,
Yeah.
if you have five different locations for single family, can you imagine you have to go to one by one? Time consuming, right? And also, like, become very expensive, because when you want to call a handyman, you have to get it a
Yeah.
bit all the time, right? So
Yeah.
overall, the expenses is higher. When the expenses is higher, the risk is higher. The net income also become very little. So sometimes, in comparison, time and things like that, it's not even worth it. With multifamily, the drawback is only the price tag. That's why
Yeah.
syndication come to play. Back in the
So,
day, yeah.
so for your first deal,
hmm
what was that unit count? Was that a small a small multifamily, or was it what's the unit count look like? Can you give us the brass tag of
Okay,
the
so the
statistics? Mhm.
multifamily that I did the first time is about six, right?
Mm.
And then go to
Six units.
12.
Hmm.
Yes.
Got it.
So
Yep.
anything five and up is considered multifamily.
Yeah.
Then I never go, everybody has a fear. That was my fear too. Like, it's stuck in my head. Okay, I know multifamily is way to go. I do the private syndication or JV, but all my experience, I did everything. So I basically I found the deal,
Mhm.
I underwrite the deal, I manage the asset, and then I consider the exit myself. So basically, all
Mm.
my partner, they're all limited partner or silent partner, right?
Mm.
Because of I do everything myself, I I'm I'm scared to, buy anything bigger than that, right?
Yeah.
Because the risk is on me. If I lose, what? I get this whole I built my reputation. This business is all about reputation. The same thing like any other business. I built my reputation organically. If I screw up, then I'm over. There's no other second chance, because you lose your investor money and that was it.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm very careful and I'm very scared to scale
Yeah.
until I learn to go out of state, and until I learn to partner with bigger syndicator in Arizona. Then I know, oh, you know what? It is it's a team player. It's basically like, you don't have to do it alone. And that give me more power. Now, I can go pretty much like sky is the limit for me. Like, you can go in, you can scale, you can do anything, because I know it's doable to do it with. There's a lot of capable people out there.
Yeah.
What you need to do is just, you have to find it. You just have to make sure that you have
Mm.
the same work ethic, you have the same philosophy, right? But there's a lot of smart people, there's a lot of people that more than capable to doing it. So to me now, like, before I was thinking like I have to do it all by myself. Not anymore. So
Mm.
to scale, to get a bigger one, if I can go bigger, I'd rather go bigger and then team up with everyone, rather than I'm doing it myself and then take all the risk myself.
And for your big first multifamily deal, how did you find the partner?
Conferences,
Like
meetup.
which conferences? What kind
Okay,
of
so
conferences?
the from well, you know how we meet up, the LP, the partners and things like that, right?
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
our story. But my biggest leap is when I went to VSV conference, which is
Mm.
Vertical Street Venture conference in Scottsdale.
Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix. It's
Phoenix.
actually
Oh.
only last year that I go out of
Yeah.
state. So I'm not, I'm a long player for real estate, and I understand about syndication, but for me to go out of state, it just started last year. And
Mm.
when I went to conference, from the speaker that they choose, from the itinerary that they put it together, I knew they pretty seasoned, and I knew they know what they're doing. So
Yeah.
I was the one who actually came approaching them, and I said, look, I have investor. The same thing like approaching Pablo. So I kind of like redid everything all over again. So I went to them and I said, I have investor ready to go. I don't have any project in California and they're all expensive. They are ready to invest. And they probably in their head, yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear that a lot. Like but probably everybody also saying that, oh, I have money, I have money. But long story short, we happen to meet again with the managing partners before I leave in the breakfast. Everybody, I think all the restaurant closed at that time. There's only one or two restaurant that open because it's a holiday. So we met again. I started to get the conversation. Hey, look, I have investor, and finally they follow up. This is also interesting story. But they follow up and I tell them about my background, things like that. We speak about 1 hour with Ronnie, one of the managing partner, which is one of my mentor too. And Ronnie said, okay, good, we'll talk again next time. Okay, that's it. But then he sent me a text. Hey Linda, thank you so much for the 1 hour, and it's been great, and I hope you have a day. That's it. And then I just lost about $2 million in crypto, by the way. That's probably the
Wow.
missing. I in the beginning of
Where did
the
that come from?
in the
Where
beginning of
that
the
was
in the beginning of the year, in last year.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I find out this it's a fraud. So I do the hedging and stuff like that. All of a sudden, the platform gone. So it's not because
Mm.
I don't know how to hedge. The platform is gone. FBA get involved and things like that. So why people out there just be really careful because they just close down and then there's no
Yeah.
law, right? So I lost that money. So I know when I went to the VSB conference, I have so much hope. I'm confused, but I also have so much hope. So when I talked to Ronnie and Ronnie said, okay, see you again. We'll talk again next time. I'm replying to that text or that email. Hey, thank you so much for the time, but you know, um, I'm in a crossroad right now, so I really need help. I just don't know what I need, but I know that I need
Mm.
to, make everything
Mm.
better. I'm very,
Yeah.
my message is very vague,
Mm.
but the good thing is just really gut sent. He called me back. He said, like, you know what? Let's set up another Zoom tomorrow. And then I said, sure. But in my head, it's like we just talked for an hour. What else that you want to what is you want to know about me? But the next day we got a Zoom and he said, Linda, when you said that you're in a crossroad and you said that you're confused, what are you confused about? And I say, how long do you have? How long? What time? I say, oh, I have all day. You can tell me a story. So I tell him a story is actually from the very beginning when I came to United States until I lost the money, until I came to the conference. So, and I was just crying because it was so new to me. I know I went to conference in May, June, or something like that, and I just lost
Mm.
everything in January. Right?
This is last
Mm.
year and this
This
year,
is
January.
yeah. This
Probably.
is in
Wow.
2022. So the whole
Mm.
hedging is 2021, end of
Yeah.
2021. Um, and then Ronnie said that I will let me talk to the team and then see what we can do. So he talked to the managing partner. At that time, they have one project, syndication for 232 units in Tucson that they have not closed but about to close. And then they still do the capital raising because it's not closing yet.
Mm.
But they don't know me. They don't know me. They don't
Yeah.
know my background at all. And then the next day, Ronnie called me back and it's like, we decided to bring you in as a capital raiser.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
that changed everything. And right away they put me in a team. So I raised capital. One of my strengths is capital raising. So I raised capital
Mm,
with them for that Metro Tucson. Since then, two
mm,
months after, I get another deal. So get syndication is very funny, right? And you, especially even though you don't have any experience in out of state, what you need to do is just one deal. It changed everything. The same thing, like for me with Pablo too. What I need is some, what people need in general is one opportunity.
mm.
One,
It's all about
yeah,
relationships and one
one
opportunity.
That's
opportunity.
yeah,
If you have
and I
one
love the
opportunity,
way
the
you.
door
Mm,
open,
yeah.
Yeah.
then everything
Just
open
get
for you.
in. Just get
And I
in.
think the way that you went out and established those relationships is just amazing, and it really went from a very authentic perspective of yourself. Like, hey, I'm here. I know that I'm here to provide. I don't know how exactly this is going to work, but I know there's value for me to provide, and like just share your authentic story. And I think that really moves a lot of people and you know get that connection and just start to create syndication teams and just start from there. All values are created from relationships, and
Yeah.
oh god, this is such an inspiring story. Thank you for sharing that with
Of
us.
course, of course.
And
So hmm?
one question I want to ask is not about the real estate. It's about like, if today is your last day on this planet, what message do you want to give to the world?
I would say that not to worry about what's going to happen next. You know,
Mhm.
I think most of us, including myself, right? And I'm still learning this too. I mean, as I get older, things get, better. But then, when we always worry about, what going to happen next, we always worry about something that may not happen. And I learned this is, I think, the one that I have to remind myself every day too, every hour too, when I start to get worry and stuff like that. Somehow, universe work in mysterious way. When you have that energy attract the same energy, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we're not talking about religious thing here, we're talking about the energy. When you worry so much, and then what you when passing out there is fear, you will attract
Mhm.
fear,
Yeah.
right? So there's the door, somehow the opportunity, somehow it's just not, even though it's there, you won't be able to see it, so if we be able to be more open and trust, which is hard, trust to everything is gonna be fine, because we all live in like up and down situation all the time. There's never the up never been always there, and the downside never
It's,
always in
yeah.
in the downside, right? So if we have that in mind, and then we kind of like, you know try to do it more, I mean, in the positive way, peacefully, and know that, we'll get there. If there's a
Yeah.
problem, the problem, because we sometimes we analyzing something and then trying to do, like, what, this may happen, this may happen, this may happen, then it's hinder you to do anything,
Yeah.
right? And that thing that you listed may not happen, may not happen, or may happen in different shape, which is, that's
Yeah.
beyond your control. The only way to do it is like, when you there, what is your issue is, then you can solve it there. I think that's
There's
my
always
message.
light after the darkness. Yeah.
I love that. And yeah, our world is in the sense of energy and vibration. So I totally understand what you just said. And I think that view also helped me to get through so many limiting belief
Yeah,
hurdles, like you mentioned. Over analyzing, never get started. That's me. That we I mean,
we all
I don't
do.
know if it's an Asian thing, but we just do that. and
No, trust me,
um,
it's not a nation thing. There's a lot of people. Okay, remember, you go to meetup, you go to conferences, shaman, right? There's so
Yeah.
many people out there. They're coming all the time. They always
Yeah.
go, right? But then they
yeah,
they don't they don't do anything. They don't, because they analyze it so much. They think
Yeah.
they want to be able to control everything, which is, that's so impossible to control. What gonna happen next? No one be able to do that.
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes you just gotta take the deep dive.
Yes.
Um,
Nice.
thank you so much, Linda. So before we wrap this up, where can people go out and find more about you?
I have a website, www.essentialelementcapital.com. We can schedule, a meeting. I actually, love to get to know, like, new people. Like, I embrace people's story, because I think at this point in my life, that's actually the one that fuel me. I'll be able to relate with people. I learn from people's story, right? We all do, right? I mean, everybody has
Yeah.
their unique, you know you just have to be comfortable to share it. I was not before. I'm not
Mm.
so comfortable sharing it, but I know that the more you be able to do that, then I also be able to learn from somebody else too, with the feedback, anything. So yeah, my website. I'm in social media too. I have everything. I mean, even in Lincoln, and IG, and also Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much
much.
for having me.
Thank you. It was
All
great.
right. See you in the next one.